Hey, this is Paul again. I'm just going to jump straight into it today. So, the topic for this time is going to be going through hell. Yes, I believe in God again. Honestly, first time that I ever have believed. In the last 5 months, I never believed. Not in a million years. I've talked about it a few times. Again, I never believed in a million years that I would be this guy to believe in God. And I do. I believe in Jesus Christ these days. It helps a lot. It helps my life a lot. I'm not going to tell anybody else how to believe. Again, that ain't my way. Um, there's something about the term that I've come across in the last however many years. I don't remember where I caught it, but it's basically if you're going through hell, keep going. And just because God exists, just because Jesus exists, that means that Lucifer exists as well. I truly believe that these days. I believe that, and a lot of the time, I remember talking to a friend over the last few months. If I believe, which I do believe, who knows what's really going to happen at the end? None of us really know. I believe now. But whether heaven and hell actually does exist, like I do believe these days, what I really believe is heaven and hell is what we're living in on a day-to-day given basis in this mortal coil. So what I go through on a day-to-day basis, if it's shitty, yeah, then that's me going through hell as far as I'm concerned. And how do I live my life in alignment with God and just being a good person despite the struggle, because suffering is inevitable. Being attacked by the enemy is inevitable. That is going to happen. And especially, I've heard this and I've really resonated with this saying for however many years now since I heard it originally. I think it was on a TV show, doesn't matter what. But basically, that if you're going through hell, keep going. But especially now that I believe in God, I really believe in this. If you're going through hell, keep going. Do what you got to do day in and day out. And honestly, one of the best ways to actually live in alignment with God's will and getting through hell is having a daily discipline. I never, also again, in a million years would have thought that I'd be the disciplined guy. I wanted to find the shortcut. I wanted to find the end route. The reality is, the easiest shortcut is just going directly through. It goes right back to, if you're going through hell, keep going. Don't go around. Don't try to go over or under or whatever. Just go through. And that really, to me, comes back to discipline. If I'm just going to do it, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to write whatever I'm going to write. I'm a writer these days. I'm going to paint whatever I'm going to paint. I'm an artist. I'm going to sit down and just actually do it for real. Go and get the workout in the gym. Whatever it is, even if I've got a bum shoulder right now, I do what I got to do. I be disciplined. I live my life in according to my values, which also these days align with, as far as I'm concerned, living in God's will and not just being some narcissist thinking that I can do whatever I can do to get around all this stuff. No, I'm just going to live a disciplined life and not be some egotistical, selfish little jerk, and just actually live my life as best as I can, to the best potential that I can. And again, that sometimes means going through hell and having tough times. But it also at the same time goes back to my last video about the waiting period. Sometimes it's easier. I remember being at a men's meeting that I go to the other day, and we were talking about how it's easy sometimes to think of suffering as easier than waiting. It's a weird concept to some, but when you got to get into the waiting period and actually just wait and wait and wait and wait on God, and sometimes God's plans aren't the most convenient for us. They can take time. If you go to the Bible, Abraham, he was promised by God that he was going to have a son. He was 75. He didn't have that kid, the real kid. He had a end around Ishmael plan. Yeah, his son Ishmael, that him and his wife had their servant have 10 years later, but his real son wasn't born for 24 years later when he was 99. And that's just what it is. Like sometimes, and that's me being a Bible guy these days, and I'm going to use those types of references. But that is the reality, that was 24 years that he had to wait, and he was already that old. That's hard. Waiting sucks. And so, honestly, sometimes I'm like, I would actually rather be going through hell and keep going than having to wait. That's a hard thing to swallow. That's a hard reality that I've come to, even just right this now, here. But it's interesting when you really get down to it and really just allow yourself to, I don't know. This podcast for me is about being as authentic as I can and just putting good material out there that hopefully this resonates. Thanks. That's all I got for tonight.